And you need to know that if you're one of the people persecuting me, and I'm not going to address this to them, but those people need to know that they are persecuting an innocent human being, somebody that was abused as an infant. And so if they choose to do that, they are going to go to hell. By the way, I did see hell in one of my visions. I think it was hell. I don't know. Jesus showed me a place that was like underground, and I didn't want to be there. The bad people in this world are going to be taken care of. There is justice coming. I believe that. I have to believe that, and I do believe that. I have reasons why I believe that. But like I said, I don't care what any of my family thinks anymore, because they don't talk to me. They don't even acknowledge my existence anymore. So I don't care. I'm going to say exactly what happened to me. Moving on. I believe I'm a victim of Project Monarch because of that teacher when I was in the 4th grade, making us study the stupid monarch butterfly for a better part of the year. Alright. The white van waiting for me after I came home from school. I was like 8 or 9 years old. Missing time, couple hours of missing time. I have no memory what happened during that time period. Another thing I remember from when I was living in that house, and like I said, most of that time period is blocked out of my mind. I just don't even remember what happened. I just remember it was terrifying. That house, living in that house was absolutely terrifying. And I'm not the only person. I have friends that were in that religion too, that came to that house, and they won't even talk to me about it. They're like, I don't know, that was a scary place. And I'm like, yeah, it was. Thanks. I had to live there. But anyway, I had some friends that were over at the house. They were in the church too, in the religion, because that was the only people I was allowed to hang out with. And they were only their family, their parents came over, and they were having dinner at our house. And we were all outside playing, and it was dark outside. There was a porch light, and there was also a light standing in the driveway, like one of those big tall light posts. But other than that, it was dark. We didn't live in the city, and this was in Alaska, so it's very dark there. It's not like, it's not like the city where even when it's night, it's kind of light out. It's very, very dark, other than the porch light and this other light that we had in the driveway. Anyway, it was night, and we were playing hide and seek. However, we were outside, and everybody came in, and we saw, well, first, all I can tell you is what I saw, but I know that the other kids with me saw it too, because we all freaked out and ran inside. And I was like, did you see it? And they were like, yeah. So we all saw it. I remember that. And we tried to tell our parents, and they didn't believe us. They laughed at us. But I'll tell you what I saw. I saw like 2 or 3 people. They looked like humans going through the forest, but they were like moving fast, like the speed of a run, except they weren't running because they were not bobbing. They were, you know what I mean? Like they were just, it was like a smooth, they were moving in a fashion that I had never seen anybody move before. It was just smooth. But then they went through a clearing. They went through a clearing, and you couldn't see their legs. So they were solid black, like, they looked like they were solid black, like they were not hazy at all. They were just solid black. And when they went through the clearing, I could see that they did not have legs, or you could not see their legs. And I blocked out this memory for years. In fact, I didn't even remember this until I think like 10 years ago. I was trying to remember that because I was like, something happened. What happened? What did I see? And I sat down. I really, really focused on the little memory that I had. And I remember, I mean, I knew that there was something, that we saw something, but I didn't want to think about it, is basically what it was. I didn't want to think about it. So it was like blocked out in the sense that I just didn't think about it. And anytime the memory would pop up, I would push it back down and just be like, I'm not going to think about that. But it was always kind of there, and I knew it was there. And finally, one day about 10 years ago, I was like, okay, you know what? I need to know what the hell that memory is. And so I sat down, and I just really focused on the memory, and I tried to, imagine myself in that place, in that time. And the weird thing was, I remembered it, and I was like, yeah, there were these black shadows or whatever that went through the yard. But I remembered something else that I hadn't remembered before. And that was that those shadows, they weren't really shadows either. They were solid black. They weren't even really like shadows. But I think they had elongated heads. And I'm not sure about that. But I think that's what I saw. I saw their profile, and their heads were elongated in the back. I'm pretty sure that's what scared us so bad. And I hadn't remembered that piece of it before. Because I had remembered about the shadows going through the yard, but I hadn't remembered. I was trying to remember more details of that experience and why it was so scary. But the only other piece of information I could bring up from that was that I think their heads were elongated. And like I said, they were just solid black, and I could see their profile. We couldn't see their legs, but I think that their heads were elongated in the back. It wasn't until I saw like those ancient Egyptian drawings and stuff that I was like, that's how their heads were shaped. Not like gray aliens. They weren't shaped like that. They were shaped like the Egyptian hieroglyphs. The Egyptian statues, where their heads are like long. Like, you have ever seen those pictures of those skulls? Those skulls with the elongated heads? That's what they look like. And it scared us so freaking bad that my friends that were there that day, I went to them later, and we were really freaked out. We ran, all of us saw it, and we all ran inside and told our parents, and they didn't believe us. And we thought they were demons because we were raised Jehovah's Witness, and so they always talked about demons and all that stuff. So that's what we just thought, and we were so freaked out because we were like, oh my God, I didn't think they were actually real. And so it really, really scared us bad. Well, it scared us so bad that later on, years later, and it was probably maybe 5 years ago, I got in touch with a few of those friends that were there that day and asked them, do you remember seeing those creatures or whatever they were that went through the yard that day? And they did not want to talk to me. And in fact, they stopped talking to me. One of the people said that she vaguely remembered it, but didn't really know what it was. And then she stopped talking to me and never talked to me again. She just ignored me and would not talk to me. And I feel that the reason she doesn't want to talk to me is because I remind her of something that happened when we were kids, and she doesn't want to remember it. That's what I think. But I don't really know, because I've never done anything to her, and she just stopped talking to me. But then again, it could also be the phone call interception technology that they have, which I'll get into later. Okay, so the other person that I talked to, when I told her, she was like, I just remember that was a really, really scary house. That's all I remember. And then she started twitching while she was talking to me. Like, when I say twitching, I mean like she started exhibiting post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. And like, she was totally normal and sane before I asked her about this. But as soon as I asked her if she remembered about the shadows going through the light, she started exhibiting post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms right there at that moment. And I was just like, whoa, okay, I'm not going to press this issue. I'm just going to leave it, and she can, like, you know what I mean? But anyway, now I look back and I think that must have been some type of technology that was like light bending technology or something, which was probably the reason we couldn't see their legs and whatever. But the thing about the heads, like I said, I'm not sure that is in fact what it was. I just don't know. I don't remember it exactly. But something really scared the crap out of us. And that possibly was what it was. I had extreme fear when I was a child, and it started when I was living in that house next to the church. I had extreme fear where, like, I'd sleep under the covers and I would only leave like a little hole to breathe out of, and I would completely like huddle under the covers. I was so terrified every single night. I was so terrified. And I remember one time I had a fever, and everything. Oh, I don't remember if this was the same time. I remember I felt this weight on my body that was like a weight that I had never ever felt before that, and I've never felt it after that. But it was otherworldly. I mean, it was a weight on my body, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was, I just don't even know how to describe it. It was extremely heavy. That's all I can say. Like, just extremely heavy. Like something was pressing me. I don't know. And then I had another time where I had a fever, and I felt like all my stuffed animals, I had all these stuffed animals, I felt like all my stuffed animals became really, really huge. I don't remember anything else about that. I remember that my mom thought our house was haunted during that time period, because we had some mirrors in the living room that crashed. And she kept talking about witches that live down the street. And my mom has really ridiculous beliefs, okay? So I'm not saying at all that this is true. And she does. I'm sorry, but it's just a fact. She has ridiculous beliefs. She is totally brainwashed by the Jehovah's Witnesses. Totally and completely brainwashed. I cannot trust my mother for anything, because she is she hurts me so bad because she's a mouthpiece for the Masons. She's a mouthpiece for these people that hate me and want me dead, because they knew that I was going to tell you this. What I'm telling you right now, they knew that I was going to say it, and they knew there was nothing they could do about it, because Jesus is on my side. Jesus is helping me, and they hate Jesus. I'm not even making this up. They hate him. They know he exists, and they hate him. And they know that he's helping me, and that's why they are possibly, I don't know why they're attacking me, but I know that I know that I'm being attacked by somebody. I don't know who it is. I don't know if they're the ones doing it, but I highly suspect they are. Moving on, because there's a lot, and like I said, I'm sorry this is not organized, but I've got to tell you as much as I can remember. So I've told you about 4th grade and how possibly they were doing experiments on us, and possibly at that time they determined that I was not going to submit whatever it was. They were possibly experimenting. Here's what I'm thinking. Possibly they were testing us to see which ones of us would oppose their authority and which ones of us would submit to their authority. I believe I was one of the people that opposed their authority even when I was a child. And therefore, they decided that they would turn me into a criminal, or whatever. They could possibly try to turn me into a bad person or somebody that they could discredit. And I believe they decided that when I was 8 years old, because I was accused of something that I did not do, and I was accused and punished of something that I did not do when I was 8 years old. And I remember